What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate, the Troy episode. Sorry, I didn't have a fancier name for you tonight. But as always, we are presented by collegefootballdogs.com, part of Dog TV, and our presenting sponsor down below. And I actually remembered to bring this home tonight, Dubby Energy. Check it out. I know I'm doing it really as a soda replacement. Little caffeine, no sugar, no calories to speak of. It's your clean energy. You can enter SB Syndicate at checkout as a little promo code to give us a little bump. And we'd like to welcome into the show tonight Trojan Joe, as he's now known. We won't speak of his other tagline underneath his name. And also Trojan pitcher Grayson Stewart. And we think we're going to have Brady Fuller join us here shortly. Did you get an update from him, Grayson?
I texted him, but I've not gotten a response. So I'm not sure what he's doing.
If he jumps in, he jumps in. We definitely want to welcome you guys to the show. Joe, do you want to start us off with one of the reasons? Obviously, you're here because we're talking Troy in general, but you want to start us off with a little intro to what you want to speak about?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for letting me come on again. I think I might be like the most invited guest on the Sunbelt Syndicate, and so happy about that. But we did want to raise attention to, and you, Dom, are so willing to allow us to do that, and we appreciate it. Chris Lewis, star wide receiver for the Troy Trojans football team, at the end of last season was having some leg pain. When the season ended, went and got examined and got basically the worst news you could get. Wasn't just a regular football injury, it was actually cancer. There was a mass on his leg. And so he's now going through the process of chemotherapy and radiation and surgery to remove that mass. And he has set up a GoFundMe. He's a college student, to help him get through, that. Obviously, Dom's put it up on the screen there, which I appreciate. If you go to the Troy Boys on Facebook, we've got it pinned to the very top of our Facebook page. So if you're an App State fan, I promise you don't have to see any anti-App State propaganda. This will be at the very top. And I encourage you, please join me. I've given given a couple times. And if you feel so led, this is a young man who is an absolute amazing athlete and an even better person, and deserves our support right now. So if you can, please give. Any gift matters. Go on, make a gift, and we'd love to see this young man return to the football field. But more importantly, we'd love to just see him be prepared to leave school when he graduates without any kind of medical debt following him, and ready to conquer the next phase of life. So thanks for letting me talk about that. We all love Chris Lewis, and in the Sunbelt, it's a big family. We argue and fight amongst each other, but there are some things that are bigger than football, bigger than sports, and this is one of those things. So please support Chris Lewis if you can. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely important. I mean, he came onto the scene this year and was easily at least one of, if not the best wide receiver in the entire conference as well. So a great, talented player, as Joe said, an even better person, and hopefully somebody that we can continue to help out no matter who we cheer for as we get closer back to football season. And talking about some athletes, let's welcome Grayson Stewart once again. He hails from Dothan. Am I pronouncing it right? Dothan, Alabama?
Dothan, Alabama.
Dothan, Alabama, a state champion during his junior year at Providence Christian School. He's a 5'11" right-handed pitcher with a season-high 9 strikeouts versus Northwestern State. It's a pleasure to have you on the show with us tonight. And interestingly enough, if Brady ends up joining us, another state champion. You guys didn't go – it didn't say your classification. It said he was 7A. What classification were you in?
Yeah, we were 3A. Just a private Christian school, but we went up to Auburn my junior year and beat them. So
okay,
that was great. Yeah.
Nice. Did you guys pitch against each other in that game by any chance?
I don't know if he was on varsity yet or not. I pitched that game. I pitched like it was early in the season, so I only pitched like 4 innings, but yeah, we beat him. I think it was like 3-2 or something like that.
And I'm guessing that the state of Alabama really, really likes their high school baseball.
We do a lot. Yeah. Also, by the way, Brady should be joining any second now. He just texted me. He
Perfect.
should be joining right now. So
Cool. Very nice. Okay, well, I'll add him up in here when he jumps in. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are you already engaged? Did I see that on social media?
I am. I'm engaged. I got engaged in November. So, yep, I'll be getting married in November as well. So, crazy time.
Well, yeah, congratulations, man. Congratulations. I think I saw a picture. Is she a Troy cheerleader or dance team member?
She is. Yep. Yeah, she just they're done now. Women's basketball just finished up, so they're done. But she was.
Gotcha. Right. So is she graduating, or is she?
Yeah, we're both graduating in May. I'll have another year of baseball though. I was injured my freshman year, so I got a med red that year. So we're both graduating academically in May, but I will probably be back next year for my next season.
You sure you're not going to be up in the pros or something?
I wouldn't hate that at all, but we'll see.
There you go.
We'll see with all that.
Yeah, because the one thing I had yet to mention is you were also the Sun Belt preseason pitcher of the year, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, for those that aren't aware, the Sun Belt is really, really good in baseball, and this guy was picked as the best pitcher coming into the season. So, there you go. Tells you all you may need to know. And we now have fellow pitcher Brady Fuller. He's a 6'4" right-handed pitcher hailing from Auburn, Alabama, as Grayson just mentioned. They kind of went maybe not head-to-head, but at least the schools went head-to-head. But then Brady helped get his team to the 7A state championship as a senior. He has a 7-4 record on the year. And most notably, he just helped beat our favorite App State Mountaineers this past weekend. So welcome to the show, Brady. Oh, I think he's muted. We'll let him talk his trash when he gets that figured out there. But Joe, what's oh, I think we got it. We got you on there, Brady? Not quite. No. Can't hear. We'll get it figured out. Just keep testing it out and keep talking. As soon as you get the audio working, we'll roll with you there. Marv,
he lives in the back. He lives in the back room of our apartment complex, and the Wi-Fi is not great there. So both of us might be a little in and out.
Okay. Well, the picture's coming through good. It's just the audio that we need to work on there. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on him to get that working, let's take a look at the Sun Belt standings. We did. I did change this because, as Joe and I were talking about before, and I think I kind of talked to Marv about this before this show, the Sun Belt standings as they are listed on the website itself don't seem to be using the tiebreaker they would actually use if the season were to end today. They seem to be using the tiebreaker that your overall record, winning percentage, your overall winning percentage total instead of your conference winning percentage. So I've changed that. This should be what it would look like if the season did end today. So no, this will not match the Sun Belt website. We'll try and get them to change their ways so that we can see an accurate portrayal moving forward. And anybody who would like to check this for accuracy, you certainly can. But this seems to be a better layout than what we're currently seeing on the website. So I'll just start there. And real quick, before I get thoughts, actually, Marv, guess who's shown up on the show already?
Artie Cat.
Hello, Dominic, Seth, and Marv. Well, Seth is possibly not joining us tonight, but he's a little sad about his Arizona Coyotes. In Texas, he's a hockey fan, believe it or not. Thanks for 30 years. I couldn't decide between Salt Lake City or Denver for vacation, so they called the airline. Airfare to Denver is $300, she said. Yeah. Well, that would be a nice little trip for you. Okay. Guess we got great rates of Salt Lake City, 99 cents, but there's a stopover in Denver. Yep, that seems about the going rate. But he's also jumping back into the baseball conversation, saying congratulations on graduating and your upcoming nuptials. Yes, absolutely. So we're glad to have Artie. Also, I am wearing my Captain America shirt. If Marv remembers why I'm wearing my Captain America shirt, and Joe, maybe. I don't know if you interact, and maybe even Grayson. There's a huge Troy fan who has a YouTube username and profile picture and goes by Captain America. So I thought I don't have anything Troy that I own. I thought I'd give this little shout out tonight for him. Hopefully he shows up on the comments for us.
You didn't buy anything when you were down for the football championship game last year?
No, I stayed dry. I stayed dry for that. Yeah. No, if I was down there, I would have come and said hey to you.
We didn't because of all the champagne popping and stuff. But that makes sense. That makes sense for you.
Yeah, there probably was some champagne pop in there. Let's see, Brady, we got you on the audio now. Oh, perfect. There we go.
I'm all over the place right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good, man. We're just happy you can join us.
Yeah,
part of the pitching tandem for tonight, this evening. As we mentioned, you guys are doing great so far. So why don't you guys start us off? I mean, I don't think you're going to like where I have you, but it's not my choice. That's just kind of the rules. But talk about the fact that so many of you guys in the conference right now are 9-6, and maybe just how tough this conference is overall as you guys have been playing through it so far this season.
I mean, yeah, the conference is so good. I mean, even, you look down and you see teams like Appalachian State and you see Marshall and ULM, teams like that. They're still really good. I mean, we lost one to App State. We lost one to ULM. I don't think we lost one to Ark State, did we, Stu?
No, we
yeah. Just, every week is a grind. And you can't kind of just give up on any team because you can't think you're going to have to go in and sweep somebody no matter what. So every week you have to show up all 3 games and you have to give your best bullet, whether it's on the mound or you take your best swings, because anybody can beat you in this conference. It's super fun too, because, me and Stu, our freshman year, it wasn't really like that. It was, it was the fun belt, because everybody could hit, but the pitching wasn't necessarily there. Now it's everybody can pitch, everybody can hit, and it's super fun to play week in, week out.
Yeah, absolutely. Grayson, any thoughts from you over there?
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty complete conference, up to down. I mean, when we played at ULM, they were not an easy go, and every team that we've played has not been an easy go. A lot of 9-6 teams, and this is kind of the time of the year where you separate yourself if you want to continue to keep playing, if you want to, make a regional, stuff like that. So it's an opportunity for all those teams that are sitting there at 9-6. We've got Georgia State this weekend, who's also 9-6. So it's kind of gut punch time. It's the time of the year where games really, really matter. Not that they don't always matter, but they really matter at this time, especially with RPI and different stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
Do you have Georgia State at home this weekend, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
They're thankful for that, because Georgia State's stadium, they won't have to say anything if they don't want to, but that thing is rough.
Well, at Georgia State, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when you're at Georgia State, like, they know how to play in that ballpark super well. Like last year, we got absolutely dominated at their place last year, and it's not that we were, the worst team. It was just like they just took their ballpark to their advantage, and they dominated us last year there. So, real pace. We're looking forward to being at home. It's been a long couple weeks, being on the road and whatnot. So we're excited to be at home playing them this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Artie says enjoy that awesome facility. Well, luckily they're at home, where actually Troy has a very, very nice baseball facility. I just like actually Troy. Troy. I'm talking about the school. Joe, you can also speak of the facilities if you spend time in a lot of these. I mean, I think it's just a beautiful campus. Unfortunately, I've not been down there myself, but every time I see it, I'm like, I don't know what I pictured for Troy, but this wasn't it. To me, it looks more like a private school, I guess, is what I'm going to say.
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. My freshman year, I lived in Pace Hall, which is the international dorm. And so I was right across the street from the baseball stadium. And it has grown so much from, I was in school in 2004 when these two guys were running around kindergarten trading animal crackers. Okay. So, I mean, I understand I'm the old man on the call, but really Troy baseball all the way back to Chase Riddle, and then getting to even the Bobby Pierce, who was there when I was there. There's just so much success built into this program. And if you don't mind, Dom, I'd love to hear these two current Trojans talk about, when they were making their decision to come to Troy, how much that played into it. Troy has a long history of success as a baseball team, and how they felt about that, and if they came because they wanted to be a part of kind of keeping that success going. Either one of y'all or both can answer.
Yeah, so I'm from Dothan is 45 minutes away from Troy. So my parents, they both went to Troy. I grew up going to Troy camps and games and stuff like that. Like I've got a picture with Coach Pierce, I believe, when I was a little kid. And so like I always wanted to come to Troy. It was always kind of my goal. So that's kind of what I was shooting for in high school. And obviously it's a great program. And obviously you want to keep that going. And I think that now, especially with Coach Meade and that staff here now, I think we really have a good chance to keep the winning tradition going because those guys are great.
Yeah. Awesome. Brady, you want to talk on that? I know from the notes that I gathered, your dad actually played not only in the pros, but also just down the road at Auburn. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm on the total flip side of Stu. My dad played and coached at Auburn, and then my brother also played at Auburn too. My grandparents went to Auburn. My mom went to Auburn. So I was Auburn kid growing up, but it was never like I have to play for Auburn. Like it's Auburn or nothing. No, I was always like, I just want to play Division I baseball. I just want to play for a good program. And so I committed super late. I committed to Troy April of my senior year just because COVID had happened, scholarships, that kind of thing was super weird at the time. And I never came on a visit, but I had been to Troy's campus before. I had been to the field and all that. And I mean, in the state of Alabama, Troy is known as a great baseball program, great school, just a great everything overall. So it was a no doubter for me because I was like, I met Coach Meade. Me and Grayson actually met Coach. We were the first kind of guys to meet him. And like from the moment we met him, we were like, yeah, there's no doubt that this is the guy we want to play for. And he's really taken this program to the next level just with the ideas and stuff that he has, especially with the facilities we have now too.
Yeah, I just remember looking at it the other week, and then I guess I caught a clip on Twitter or something, and I just saw the background, and I'm like, man, what stadium is that? That looks nice. And I'm like, oh, they're playing at home. That's their home dugout they're walking out of. So, yeah, very, very impressive facility. And going back to what Artie said, he said that if you would have been playing at Georgia State, you would have gone and the 6 fans in attendance. And he said, oh, thank God that you're actually going to be playing at home. And then Artie is our biggest fan, by the way, guys. He's a Texas State fan living down there in Texas. But he has a trivia question for you. Who was the first Trojan player in MLB? I'm sure you probably see this on the walls down there or something. But
Grayson had his hand up immediately.
Yeah, Grayson knows this.
Clint Robinson. Clint Robinson. I'm gonna let Artie approve that. Pretty sure that's right.
Pretty honest on my part that I don't know that. So let's see what Artie comes back with on that. Hopefully he types fast. But let's see. Oh, I do want to say this. So Instagram Live, for whatever reason, their comments don't show up on the feed I'm looking at. But I do want to mention that Gabby Fellows, who I think is a big fan of you, particularly Brady.
Yeah.
She says, what's up to both of you guys, and wanted to let you guys know that she had been tuning in. So shout out to Gabby. She seemed to find the post I made earlier. So we follow each other now.
Gabby's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a girl from my high school, and she loves Auburn high school baseball, which is where I went. And then now she loves Troy baseball. She got to meet a bunch of the guys, got to meet Grayson. So she's awesome. She supports me. Her and her dad will come over to our games, drive an hour and a half to come watch me pitch. So she's great. Big fan, that's for sure. So I'm glad she's watching this.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. And our answer to our trivia question apparently is David Brennan. Is that a name that you were thinking of at all, Grayson? No. I'm not.
I've never heard that name before.
Okay.
Danny Breeden,
I was
Oakland
looking.
Athletics.
Gotcha. Oh, hey, look.
Shoot. Well,
The namesake. I told you why I was wearing this shirt, and here he is, Captain America. I know C-Rob, a.k.a. Clint Robinson. Very nice. I'm not sure. Should I know who Clint Robinson is?
he wasn't a huge name. I think he was like a utility backup guy for the Nationals for a little while, but I don't think he had a super long stint.
Okay. And he says Breeden, 61 to 63.
Yeah.
Just a little before y'all's time, guys. Just a little bit there.
Okay. Yeah.
Luckily before all of our times, I think. But
yeah.
Marv, you got any thoughts on what this standings look like before we move on to recap what these guys are going to love and we're going to hate in a second?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what Grayson said. We're at the part of the season. You've got 5 teams tied for second place at 9 and 6. You've got the Cajuns playing Coastal this weekend. You got Georgia Southern playing JMU, Troy at Georgia State. I mean, it's going to work itself out. But kind of to what both these guys said, just speak to the depth of the conference. I mean, baseball, this conference is really good. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this dreaded part out of the way real quick.
Yeah. It's crazy to me though to think the Cajuns are the only one who can afford to have like any kind of slide, right? Everybody else is like, you got to keep winning, you got to keep pace. That's crazy to think about, but okay, we'll go over Tuesdays and Wednesday scores before we get into the painful part. But a couple big wins here on Tuesday night for a couple Sunbelt teams. We got ODU that beat number 10 Virginia. We had Texas State beating Incarnate Word. I don't know if that's really a big win, but that's a Texas win for them in state. I know Artie likes that one. Georgia State takes down Kennesaw State. I don't know. I think we talked about this last week, Marv. Kennesaw State actually has a really good RPI. Is that what we had talked about, I think?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And that's obviously one that Georgia State, to keep pace with where they think they should be. I got to take in a little bit of the Coastal UNC matchup. We ended up being really good. Unfortunately, with a 6-year-old who had bedtime, did have to leave a little before the end of that game actually finalized, but I came home and watched the end on TV. But I'm about 10 minutes from UNC's campus, so that was an easy trip for me. Morehead State takes care of Marshall in what to me was a bit of a surprise. App State got hammered by Western Carolina 10-5. Marv, what'd you say? That game was 10-0 early, right?
It was 10-0 very early in the game. Yeah, we couldn't get out of the first inning.
Yeah, rough. La Tech takes care of ULM. Not necessarily a big surprise there. We know La Tech's pretty good team. Southern Miss takes care of Nichols. Troy, never heard of those guys. They took care of Samford 10-8. Congratulations there, guys. I honestly didn't go back and see. Did either of you guys pitch specifically in that game?
We did not.
No, we did not. No.
See, we got the All-Stars who just go weekends here. That's who we got. All right. Ole Miss and Arkansas State was canceled due to some weather, and the Cajuns continued their winning ways over Southeastern Louisiana in that one. Guys, anything you want to say about beating the Samford team? I mean, that is an in-state matchup, I guess. I don't know if there's is there really any history or rivalry there, or is that not really much of one?
You got it, Stu.
They're a good team. We don't really have a big rivalry with them, but we do take pride in kind of taking care of business with in-state midweeks and opponents and stuff like that. But they're a really good team. Their RPI is like 70 something, I think. It's somewhere around there. And they had some guys. They had some really good hitters. So it was definitely a good win.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tom, are they still SoCon school?
Yes.
Yep. Private, smaller college though, right, guys?
Yes,
Correct.
they're a private school in Homewood, which is pretty much Birmingham area.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Stu said, they can really hit. They're hitting like 317 as a team, something like that. So,
Wow.
That's pretty good. And that was a big win for us to go up there and get that.
You guys got friends or guys on that other side on that one?
No, not really. I mean, no people just from, being in the same state. But no, I don't really have anybody on that team.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Grayson,
don't
you
really
knew
have
anyone?
any. I knew their Friday guy last year. I played against in high school. He got drafted by the Orioles, but I don't know anybody this year.
Okay. Nice. And we got some more comments here. Captain America saying he played with my buddy Tyler Moore in DC. So yeah, as Grayson was saying, is with the Nationals there. And Artie saying even the basement is crowded and closed. Yes, even in the stand. I mean, you could jump up from the basement right now. Honestly, you know, a couple teams at the top slide and a couple teams at the bottom keep winning. You're flipping spots pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then they're having their own side conversation down here. Captain America asked Artie Cat how he's been doing. These guys have been around since the football season, so there's a lot of history there for them. Jumping into Wednesday's scores, not so great for the Sun Belt overall. Georgia State and Kennesaw State Georgia Southern. They love when you mess that up, guys. Just so you know, Georgia State and Georgia Southern.
Call Georgia State, Georgia Southern all weekend. You'll make a bunch of friends.
Yep. Good times. JMU goes down to VMI. That is one I did not see coming. Morehead State hammers Marshall yet again. Cajuns take care of business against the same team. You guys went up against Jacksonville State. That's yet another in-state game there for you guys. So anything to say about that one? Obviously not the result you wanted, but
let me take this first, boys.
There you go.
So y'all don't get in trouble when you go back in the coach's office, all right? Because I give money, so they can't be mean to me. Let me tell you something about Jacksonville State, okay? These guys we left behind in the dust a long time ago. We're not battling for the old school bell anymore, but they keep chasing Troy from behind, and they can't stand for us to have something that they can't have. So we went up there to Jacksonville, Alabama, which let me tell you, if you've never been, go to church on Sunday and praise God that you haven't. We went up there. We beat them 18-10. They had to play like the physical plant guys at pitcher. They had to bring somebody down from selling popcorn to pitch for them. They set an NCAA record for the most players playing at pitching. We beat them 18-10. So then they come back. This is a midweek game. This is a gentleman's agreement, okay? We're playing in the middle of the week. We're doing y'all a favor. Y'all are coming to Troy, Alabama, the most beautiful town in the Wiregrass. You are so welcome to be here in our beautiful little town, see what a college looks like. And instead what they do is they trot out their weekend starters, and we're 4 feet away still, even with that, from a walk-off victory over these guys, okay? So I don't have any respect for the Gamecocks of Just Show Up University or Jacksonville State, whichever one you want to call it. So, they get to walk away with their little 5-3 win? Fine. Take it home, boys, to the CUSA, to the husk of a conference that used to be. But these two scholars and gentlemen right here, they shouldn't even have to talk about that game. It's below them, okay? It's below a man from the Circle City that hosts the International Peanut Festival that launched Corey Smith's career to have to talk about this team from north of Oxford, Alabama. Now I'm not going to let them do it.
I only want to know how many times you practiced that promo in the mirror before we went live, Joe.
Never, sir. That was all. I just got too much Troy in me.
Yeah, here we go. This is exactly what I was just thinking. Trojan Joe is the Alabama version of Texas's JBL from the WWE. Love it.
I don't think we're going to talk about the Jack State game anymore. You know, after that speech, I can't do it in me anymore. So
I'm ready to run through a wall. Though.
Yeah,
that's what I'm ready for.
Absolutely.
I kind of hate Jacksonville State right now. I don't know why.
It's a natural thing to do.
Yup. Captain Mary said he used to live in Trojan Commons. God, I almost messed that up. Thunder Alley, right behind the sorority house. Well, it would have fit if I messed up when we're talking about the sorority house. Anyways, going on to the next subject that we so lovingly want to talk about here, fellas. Well, I guess let's start off with the easy thing. What was Boone like? Did you enjoy your time up on the mountain, regardless of what happened on the field?
And besides the fact that you got to meet the mayor of Boone, Seth, with us tonight, which, consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, we loved Boone. Boone, we went 2 years ago as well, and that ever since we went the first time, I loved Boone. Then I loved it last trip. It's a really nice place. In my opinion, it's beautiful with the mountains and all of that, and the campus is really cool too. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time.
Yeah, me too. I love it. It's a different look, obviously, than what we get here in Troy with the mountains and whatnot. It's awesome. Now, coming down the mountain is not fun at all. When we go home, I remember my freshman year, it was raining, and like the whole bus wanted to throw up because we were flying down the mountain, and it was just not fun. This time it was better, but still going down the mountain, it's you're on the back roads and you don't know where you're at. So going down the mountain's a little scary, but at Boone is awesome. We kind of feel the same way about it.
Nice. So I guess I got a question. Do you guys fly into like Charlotte and then ride up, or you take the bus all the way up?
Yeah, we took the bus, and it was an absolutely brutal drive home. It felt like it took forever.
Yeah.
That's got to be what, 9-10 hours, something like that. I mean, it's not a short trip by any stretch.
Yeah, it was 9 hours.
Yeah.
Oof.
Coming up, we split it up. We went 6 on Wednesday, and then the rest on Thursday. But then obviously you have to get back for classes and whatnot on Monday, and we got back at like 2 a.m. I think, which is that's always super fun getting back and then getting a few hours of sleep and then doing the rest of your day. So that's always super fun.
Yeah, I can, and I'm not even doing the athletic part of it, but just staying up till 2 a.m. and then having to work the next day is already hard enough. So you guys got, physical stuff that you have to do on top of that. Artie's asking if App State doesn't have an airport or landing strip. Technically, they have both, but it's like a stick of gum. And, unless you have a small private jet, you're not getting up there with some kind of massive plane. Plus, maybe you guys would experience this, but some of the wind you can experience up there, I would not want to be in a plane with how those things can just start whipping around those hills up there. So,
oh yeah,
yikes. Getting into the games, obviously, the first one went your way very, very well, 17-2. What was that first game like there for you guys playing in it? Did I break up there?
No, I was gonna let Stu. I got you.
Okay.
No, the first game, when you win a game like that, it's always super, super fun because, we threw it well. Obviously, Luke Lyon, who's our Friday guy, he threw super well. And he saved the bullpen, going 8 innings, and we mercy rule him. Saving the bullpen's awesome. But as you see the game too, like that's baseball for you. You go out and dominate a team, and when you're playing a good team like App State, like you kind of have to flip a switch. Like, hey, the game's over. Now we got to go on. And that's just kind of how the second game. Well, I know I kind of jumped on the second game, but the first one's always super fun when you do something like that. But then baseball happens, you're in a doubleheader, and then you look up and you get mercy ruled again. So they're fun to play in, but they're also super tough to bounce back from because when you're playing a good team like that, you never know what's going to happen. So I'll take one in 17-2 any day of the week, though. That's always super fun.
Yeah, I bet so.
Yeah.
So maybe, again, either one of you can talk on this. So it goes that way in the first game. We see the second game there, 11-1 in App's favor. Is there a drastic change when you split the first two going into Sunday, or is it kind of you keep the same routine? It's really not like an elevated state of concern or strategy change, or is it? I guess is a question that I've got for you guys.
I don't think it's necessarily different. I think that baseball being the game of failure that it is, you kind of have to stick with that process and stick with what you know. But it definitely heightens the fact that it's different going for a sweep than it is to going to win a series for sure. I wish we would have been going for the sweep, but we definitely needed, especially like we were talking about earlier, everybody's so close. Everybody's 9-6 and close to there, so you really need to win series at least.
Yeah. Marv, you got anything to say about this 3-game set here?
No, just congrats to you guys. It's on a little bit of a slide right now. You guys took advantage of it, and wish I could have been up there, but I was at a baseball field all day Saturday and Sunday coaching, so I actually didn't even get to watch an inning of any of the games.
I didn't know that. You were keeping up though, because you were the first one to text the group about the game. The first one.
So my son had his first travel ball tournament of the weekend, so in between games, I was kind of checking on some Sunbelt scores and didn't see what I liked on Saturday. First game, and just kind of put the phone back in my pocket. And like I said, we were back on the field Sunday, so I didn't get to watch anything. Just keep up on the stats.
Gotcha. Yeah, I tuned in to the Saturday game for most of it, which was the good one to tune into. By the time I got home from work and got to the point where I could turn a game on, I think it was over already. Is pretty much what happened in that first one. So yeah, I just refrained from turning that one on, and then I was watching a lot of the Sunday one actually, which was a great game. For I don't know which inning did that game turn in. Was the fifth or sixth? Yeah,
I think we hit a solo. We hit 3 back to back, but we hit one that kind of shifted the momentum, got us back in the game. I'm the one that kind of put us in that hole in the first place. You go out there and start on Sunday, you get 4 runs in the first. That's probably not the best thing in the world, but it's baseball. It happens. Like Stu said, it's a game of failures. So it's always nice when your team kind of picks you back up and puts some runs on the board like that. So I was thankful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've seen that a couple times across the conference. Really, is like you go down early, it ain't over all the time. Like other sports, you get down early in football, it's real hard to battle back. I'm not saying it's easy in baseball, don't get me wrong, but it seems like if you get into a role, it can happen a little faster than it can in other sports.
No doubt.
Marv and I got to take that in when we went to the App State Duke game and saw Duke put up 16 runs in one inning.
I think we gave up 12 before we got our first out.
It was rough. It was rough. But does the owner of Boone, North Carolina, have anything to say about this one as we jump into who we got coming up for each team this weekend?
Oh, just happy, that once again Troy is able to exert dominance over, that little hippie mountain town up there in North Carolina, because y'all need somebody to come in, a new sheriff in town. That's why I wore my cowboy hat, to come in and make sure everything is being run properly. That's why we're here. So really happy about that 17-2 number in particular. I wish we could run it up more, burn the horse, that kind of thing.
Well, at some point they just got to call it over. They just it was bad enough. They called off the dogs and told them we'll go do it all over again tomorrow.
Now, we had Austin on a couple of times earlier this year. Did App take the series from Troy last year in Troy? No? Okay. I remember him making a comment.
We beat him 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember him making the comment that he was excited to play you guys because he kind of felt like it was like maybe a budding rivalry going on. And I think the assumption was that we were going to be a little bit more competitive in this year's series. But I do remember him saying that. I think we asked him, what's the most exciting series you're looking forward to playing? He said Coastal and Troy.
Yeah. We always have super fun playing them. Like me and Stu are my freshman year, his sophomore year, like there's always some chirping going on in the series like that, and those are always the most fun baseball moments, like when teams are kind of going at it because like everybody kind of, competes a little bit more. I guess is the best word to say it. It's like every time we play them, there's always something somebody says, somebody does something that kind of like gets everybody going. So I always love playing them just because there wasn't really anything this year, unfortunately. I was looking, we were all talking about it like, hey, like there might be some stuff going on. Nothing really happened. So that's a good thing though. Keep everybody calm.
You can't chirp in game 1 when you get beat by 15 runs. That kind of
Good point. Good point. Okay, but before we get into who each team has coming into this weekend, go further explain that to some people, because I think some people find that surprising or something. But I've heard that from multiple athletes across multiple sports at this point. You guys don't want to go play where there's not that many fans, which that part's obvious, but you actually like some of these interactions when they're chirping you guys back and forth, it makes it fun. You guys can have a laugh. I just talked to people that were at the Coastal game, and they had a player that they ended up like FaceTiming down the road because somebody's brother knew the kid, and they had this running joke with them. And then they were all in this picture in the background, and the guy got a kick out of it because, this one specifically, the guy's name was Eric, but it was spelled with a CH at the end. So they called him Erich. And then apparently all his teammates started calling him that too, because the crowd was giving him a hard time. These are the stories that are awesome. So just explain to me, or, people listening, I guess, like what it means when you guys actually have a back and forth, and it makes it more fun to play or go to some of these opponents in conference.
Yeah, it definitely makes it more fun. I think, baseball, you play a lot of games. It's a long season, and it can get repetitive at times. So when you get opponents that they like to chirp, you like to chirp a little bit, and you can get some not necessarily bad blood, but just some extra juices flowing. It's awesome. And those are kind of like you said, those are the ones that you remember, because we certainly remember playing App State last year, because we played them. So we played them the last weekend series of the year. And then we played them the first game of the conference tourney, and then the third game as well. So it was like we basically had a 5-game set with them. And every game was competitive. Every game was good. They were yelling at us. We were yelling at them. We ended up that game in the Sun Belt tournament where we had that huge walk-off was awesome too. So those are awesome weekends, the ones where you can kind of chirp back and forth at each other.
Yeah. And the fans love it too. Like when the fans see it going on, like when you're at a place like Southern Miss or Lafayette and there's 5,000 people in the stands, they love it, because they get going in it, and then it's just kind of it just kind of goes into something else, and the fans get in it too, which is always awesome. Just, you always hear fans say something to you. I love it. Some guys might not, but I love when a fan yells at me and they tell me I suck or something. I'm like, all right, that's awesome. So
yeah, it gives you the juice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The adrenaline gets going, both teams love it. So those are always super fun when the fans get going too.
I got to ask you guys the question. You mentioned the Cajuns. Have you guys played in Lafayette since you've been at Troy?
Yeah,
we played there last
year. Is the Cajun Cooking Club everything that everybody says it is?
I remember it being pretty good. Honestly, it's everywhere. Like every time, no matter who we play in Louisiana, we've been fed afterward, and it's been good every single time. So I think it's a Louisiana culture thing. They've got it going on down there.
That's what often raving about. He's like, you go to Lafayette, and he's like, they give it to you all game, and then after the game, apparently they got some cooking club down there. He says they throw out a spread, and it's just fantastic food, and everyone's having a good time. And then you show back up Saturday, and they get right back in your ear, and then bring you a meal afterwards. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, their fans are awesome. Now, they fed us after the Friday game, and after you play a baseball game, you don't really you don't want to eat something hot and spicy, and they fed us some spicy jambalaya. It was super good. But you're sweating all over again. You're like, dude, I want to eat I need some milk or something, So it was super good, but maybe not the right thing to eat after a baseball game if you got done sweating,
Yeah, it's all part of the strategy. They don't want you to feel good the next day,
Absolutely, absolutely.
But Artie Cat, I think you might have read it, but he says he'll be booing you next month in person in Slam Marcos. But I guess you're not calling it Slam Marcos anymore, Artie, because you haven't been slamming very much here lately, unfortunately. I thought Texas State was going to be a big jump up and big time team in this conference this year. That was my preseason prediction, is that they might take the conference, and that doesn't look so hot at this point. They started off pretty hot, but they've cooled down. And Artie is pretty realistic with that. I think he's Marv, correct me if I'm wrong. If the last 2 weeks he's picked his own team to lose the series both times.
Artie is very down on his Bobcats right now. I believe the comment he said was, anyone can sweep us.
Yeah. Well, they've avoided the sweep the last 2 weeks, but they did lose to both Marshall and ULM. So I guess his point is kind of proven there. Anyway, talking about teams that aren't slumping, you guys have Georgia State and you are hosting them. Is there anything particular that you have to, I guess, how much film is being watched when you go to baseball? It's really more of how you guys perform than basing a lot off of what the other team is doing. Is that kind of correct there?
Yeah, we really don't do a ton of like film and stuff like that. We'll do a little bit. We'll look at their stats and stuff. We'll know their hot zones and stuff like that. But ultimately, we know, and something that our coaches preach to us is we need to play our best baseball. And if we do that, we believe that no one can beat us, and we believe that we're going to go as far as we want, no matter what the other team does. We believe we've got a talented enough group and talented enough players that if we just do what we do, that we're going to be fine. We're going to be successful.
Nice. All right. Well, Marv, do you have any thoughts on App State versus Arkansas State down there in Jonesboro, or over there in Jonesboro? I guess it's not really down there. It's kind of wet.
Being an App alum and an App fan, I hope this is a get back on track weekend for us. I think we're 6-9 on the other side of the 9-6. So take 2 out of 3, or sweeps are hard to come by. But get back on the winning ways. We desperately need it.
Yep, I'm hopeful for that as well. Looks like our Rivertown sports media, our Coastal fan, Marv with the down low Coastal hat. I like it. Closet fan.
That's not Coastal, buddy. That's the Clovers. That's my kids' travel ball team.
Clovers.
I would never wear anything from the Beach Chickens.
Joe loves the Beach Chickens. It's his second favorite team within the conferences. All right, Joe?
No, sir. That is not the case.
Who's the guy that always comments and only calls them COVID Carolina, which is the funniest thing ever?
Well, there's a number of people that do that, but
he should get the Presidential Medal of Freedom immediately, whoever he is.
Brady and Grayson, do you know why people call them COVID Carolina?
I've never heard of that in my life. I'll be honest. I haven't heard of that one. I'm more interested in the App State, Georgia Southern. Is it Georgia Southern hate or Georgia State hate? What's the
Southern?
It's Southern. Yeah. That's just our longest standing rival. We've been in a conference with them for years. We absolutely hate everything they stand for, and hope they win at nothing. But the COVID Carolina thing, Dom, correct me if I'm wrong, but football, they were supposed to host the conference championship game during the COVID year, and it was a non-favorable matchup, and they decided to cancel the game so that they could stake claim to the conference championship. So everyone has hated them ever since then.
Their claim was that enough of the team contracted COVID or contacted COVID, and that they couldn't field the team. People questioned that because, like Marv said, it was our record stays better. They did already beat Louisiana, so they felt like there was nothing to play for in that championship game. But obviously, Cajun fans thought they ducked them. So it probably is a number of people. Yo Boy Cars, as his Twitter handle is known as. I think he's one that always jumps in here and calls him COVID Carolina. Artie may call him COVID Carolina. I don't even know. There's again, there's lots of people that call him that that were aware of that situation down there. But did you guys get some boudin balls when you were down there in Cajun country?
Oh yeah, they were super good too. They were super good. I think everything they cook is just really good in general. So I don't think they can do anything wrong with their food.
I can't disagree. It's the only football stadium I've ever been to where they had crawfish nachos. I think it was crawfish nachos they called them. But fantastic. I mean, the nachos were the typical stadium nachos, but got a little crawfish in there. It was pretty good. Georgia State film is shaky because cameraman is bouncing a 5-gallon bucket with an 80s camcorder. Yeah, it's not great, but as we've seen, are you guys aware of this? You guys know Georgia State's about to get a new baseball facility completely?
They've been talking about that for years. You never know. I've seen that since I was maybe like a senior in high school. I saw something. I was like, oh, that's going to be super nice. I get to play that. I hope they get it done because it's awesome. And me and Grayson are Braves fans, so it's right there it's right by the old stadium, or it's in the old stadium maybe or something like that. But who knows?
Let me step in for Brady before he gets himself in trouble here. All right, let me be the one that says the outrageous thing that's not actually outrageous. Brady, God bless you. You grew up drinking the same tap water as DeMarcus Ware, okay? So, I mean, of course you're at Troy, we can't trust Georgia State's going to do anything. I mean, what stadium's going to be abandoned for them to turn into? I mean, are we going to turn like the ice rink into a baseball stadium? That's all they know how to do. So, like, I mean, that's what my friend is saying. But he's too polite and he's too much of a gentleman. He's too much of a scholar to say it. We don't trust that they're going to do that, because unless they're given some stadium artifact to ruin, how are they going to do it?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now you see why
wild.
we love having Joe on this show, okay? If you weren't already aware. Oh, man. Artie's taking Arkansas State over App. He's apologizing for it, but we'll see. I mean, that Western Carolina game was ugly, so yikes. And, I was right. See? Artie's calling them the COVID chickens, ducked out. So, yeah. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change routes here. I'm going to just stop going through the scores because you guys don't care about all these other teams. You want to talk about yourselves, which we talked a little bit about App State, Georgia Southern rivalry. So I want to hear from the two of you, and Joe as well, obviously. The rivalry between South and you guys is also up there. And there's apparently a place, Joe, you're going to have to go on the name for me. There's an actual chicken place called Sackley's or something like this.
Oh, yes, it is the biggest point of pride for all of the attendees of that University of Mobile. It's where most of them work. And it is what they are most proud of. They don't work at Zaxby's. That would be low brow. They work at Foosackly's, which is basically a carbon copy, not as good. The coleslaw is ridiculous. It's left out in the warm. But yes, they love Foosackly's down there in the Bay City. I just wish we could beat those guys in a series in baseball. We have a ton of trouble beating them in a series.
Why is that?
I want these two young Trojan warriors to tell me why. Do they voodoo on you guys? I mean, do they make you eat Foosackly's before the game? Is that what's happening?
Man, I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that as well, because they have beat us 2-1 in each series since I've been here, which doesn't feel good, which I don't like. Not only not to them, but to anyone. I don't like getting beat or losing. But yeah, hopefully we can turn the tide, because Troy does dominate South in football, and so hopefully we can turn the tide and start dominating them in baseball from here on out.
Amen.
Yeah. Brady, you got anything to share on the South rivalry from your side of things?
I mean, it sucks losing to them, obviously, because as Trojan Joe said, that's that this is our state, I guess. So losing to them always kind of sucks, but I think we're going to turn it eventually. And it's not that they're a better team or anything like that. Like, we're both very good teams. It's just they got our number, I guess, right now. So we're going to turn that, and we'll get back on the winning sides of it next year. We get to play them.
Nice, very nice. I like that, because they are actually the next team up on here. I'm going to add that back in there, but let's talk about the strength of the conference overall. So I have been, and Marv is also, and I'm sure Joe, and honestly even you guys, championing the fact that the Sun Belt is mid-major and group of 5 for football. Those monikers don't technically exist for baseball. It's all just Division I, and I guess you can call some mid-majors. I've been pushing the fact that I don't think the Sun Belt is a mid-major conference when it comes to baseball. You're looking at the conference now. You've got a log jam there for a team to rightly call second place. 2 of those teams are ranked. You guys have the second best record in the entire conference overall. Speak to how the strength of this conference may be underthought of across the country for people maybe that aren't right in it. I think luckily enough of the conference fans and players understand how good it is, but I don't know if people still think like the Big Ten's better because they have more money, which I don't think is the case, right? You guys want to speak to some of those aspects, or just what your thoughts are on how good this conference is in baseball overall?
Yeah, I think the conference is great. I mean, if you look at RPI right now, factually, we are the fourth best conference based off of RPI, and I think that's pretty indicative of what it really is. Like, I think that we are one of those top 4 conferences in the country. I think that it's good. Not only are people within the Sun Belt know that it's a complete conference, but we also are starting to get those marquee names that are hosting, that are ranked, teams like that. We're going to hopefully have 4 or 5 teams in a regional this year. I know we might not have that many projected right now, but I think that we're all confident that we will once we get there. So yeah, I think we're going to have teams in regionals every year. I think we're going to have teams hosting, and even the teams that aren't making the regionals are solid squads, as we've already kind of alluded to already.
Yeah, Brady, thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of talked about it earlier, but it's just super fun to play in because every game it's a battle. Like, you're not just gonna blow out a team 3 times in a weekend and move on to the next. So you're gonna have to beat a team, like a good team, 3 times every week if you want to sweep. Like, that's just how it is. And everybody can pitch, everybody can hit, everybody can play defense. And there are going to be teams that, host regionals, make regionals in the conference. And that's what you play, Division I baseball for. You want to play at a high level like that we get to play at. And we're super blessed by that. But the fact that Troy, me and Grayson have seen it come a long way. He was here a year before me, but we've seen just Troy come such a long way in baseball. Like, we're one of the top 3, 4, whatever teams in the Sun Belt every single year, just because of Coach Meade and the facilities and all that. And that's always fun because you get the kind of respect from the other teams in the conference when they know that you're super good and they have to give you your best shot every game to beat you. So I love playing this conference because it's super fun to play in.
Who's the third ranked conference RPI? I mean, obviously SEC's got to be 1, ACC's got to be 2. Who's the third ranked conference right now in RPI?
I think it's Big 12.
Big 12,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Big 12's they got some really good baseball teams in there.
Gotcha. So I mean, I guess it would be easy to assume that playing in a conference that's good, if you make it to a regional, kind of prepares you for what you're going to see when you get to the regional, because it's not like you've been playing a bunch of bums. You've had to, like you said, show up every weekend and play your best game. So it just makes you more equipped to go to a regional. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, obviously we went to Tuscaloosa last year and we beat Boston College game 1. We had Alabama beat game 2, and that was because of the competition we had played the whole entire year. I'm sorry to bring it up for you, Trojan Joe. I'm sure that was a hard time for all of us. I see you shaking your head. I know that was the most my heart's ever broken in my life. I didn't even want to talk for 30 minutes because I was so heartbroken. But playing in the Sun Belt, it kind of prepares you for that. Obviously, not many teams in Sun Belt are having 7,000-8,000 people at their games, but you're still playing in front of big crowds a lot of the time. So it prepares you for that. We get to see guys throwing 95, 96 in our conference. We get to see good hitters. So it prepares you for the competition. And then obviously it kind of showed for us because we had one of the best teams in the country beat and, just didn't make one out, one pitch away. So it prepares you for it 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, did you champion the same thing? I mean, what's your thoughts as a big fan of the conference in general about?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Brady just ruined my night by bringing up that series in Tuscaloosa. I'm going to have to drink 3 more Bud Lights this evening just to get over it. But I mean, I think what people don't take into account enough is that, Troy, other schools in the Sun Belt are located in a geographic region where young men are playing baseball almost year-round. I mean, look at Grayson Stewart's mustache. He started growing that when he was 3 years old, okay? That's the only way it's gotten this majestic. I mean, and these guys are playing baseball all the time because they're in beautiful weather. In the South, we call 50 degrees bad weather. And in Arbor, Michigan, they call it spring break when it's 50 degrees. So, I mean, you have all these guys that are in this area that can play baseball for long periods of time. So of course, it makes no sense when you have national pundits go, well, who cares about the Sun Belt? Well, you should if you care about college baseball, because it's a footprint of guys who are able to play baseball all the time, against these other conferences where it's uninhabitable for 6 months, let alone being able to play baseball. So, I agree with you. The Sun Belt has always been a great baseball conference, and I think now is getting a little bit of that acknowledgement, which is great.
How dare you talk about Boone like that, saying it's uninhabitable for 6 months of the year? How dare you?
Well, I mean, we've had to inhabit it since December when we took it from you. And I got to tell you, it's been really cold. So, I mean, if y'all could get an actual football team back so we could give it back to you, we'd appreciate it. It's freezing up there, and the food is terrible, and the beer tastes bad. Just serve Bud Light. Nobody wants an IPA. You know what I mean?
You got to
hippies love the IPA.
You got to get some of that Mountain Creek water next time you come up.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
I bet we could teach you a thing or two about some of that shine.
We are wasting the time of these two young scholars and gentlemen. I'll tell you that. They have important things to do.
They do.
I got a question for you guys. We ask this to every player that comes on. Seth's not with us tonight. I've got a young kid that absolutely loves playing baseball, kind of wants to be where you guys are, wants to play Division I baseball. Seth's got a kid that is big into baseball. If you could go back and talk to a 9 or 10-year-old version of yourself, what advice would you give them to play baseball now and to, continue to hopefully make it to that next level?
Yeah, I think that I think that when you're young, you don't, necessarily need to think of that stuff. Dream about it, of course. Of course, when I was a 9-year-old, all I wanted to do was play in the MLB. But have fun. Don't overthink. You don't need to be weightlifting as a little kid. You don't need to, dedicate your life to baseball. You need to have fun playing the game. You need to have fun playing other sports and doing other things. And then as you get older, you specialize. Maybe you don't. I don't think that you should necessarily. I think you should be well-rounded. But once you do, just work hard, hit the weight room, gain weight, and just compete. And then if you work hard enough, you've got the talent. It's all going to work itself out. Just don't make it bigger than it has to be at too young of an age. Is my advice.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think keeping it fun is the biggest advice I could have given myself, because when you're here, it becomes a job almost when you're playing at Division I baseball, because everything you do revolves around baseball, whether you're in the training room or you're in the weight room or you're going to class or whatever. Like, everything kind of revolves around baseball, I feel like. So when you keep it fun, it makes it more enjoyable, because it doesn't feel like a job. You just get to play a little kid's game at a super high level, which is awesome. So, I think just not making it a priority and just having fun with it every single day is how you kind of should handle it when you're at a young age.
Very nice. I like that. I've been told that from my buddy who has a number of kids. It's like not to be too hard on the kids yet, So I'm glad to hear that current players that are doing it at a high level also agree with that, because it kind of rings home even more. I know Marv's like that with his kids. He's making them do 50 push-ups before bed, and no, I'm just kidding.
No, we love playing baseball, but kind of like you guys said, I mean, I coach a lot of baseball. I coach 9-year-olds. I'm just like, man, just swing hard, run fast, have fun, and then during non-baseball season, play basketball, play soccer,
yeah,
do stuff. It's,
no doubt.
Just be athletic, and it'll all work itself out.
Yeah, I think that's where the biggest thing where we were talking about. I think it was Trojan Joe. He said, like, we play baseball year all around. Like, that's where baseball has gotten super diluted, and you see a lot of kids just burn out, because if you're playing, January to December and you're not doing anything else, like, it does get kind of old. I think playing other sports is the best thing a kid can do, because I think playing football and basketball will make you better at baseball, because you learn different ways of how to handle certain situations, how to move, like if you're a pitcher, how to move your body, if you're playing basketball, football, just so many different things you can do just playing baseball year round. I think that'll keep it more fun too, because it doesn't get repetitive. Like when you're playing different sports, other sports are fun too, So I think not playing baseball year all around definitely helps out a lot, because it keeps it fun, keeps it, refreshing, that kind of thing. So
how much do you guys think? Because when I was growing up, travel baseball didn't exist. It wasn't a thing. You played little league, maybe you played fall ball. But my oldest son plays travel ball, but we use it as a all-star development program for our little leagues. We do travel ball in the spring, do all-stars in the summer, and then you go play another sport. But I got a lot of my buddies that got kids, and I mean, they're doing exactly what you said. They're doing off-season conditioning, and they're playing tournaments every other weekend, and these kids are playing 60, 70, 80 games a year. Did y'all play travel ball? Like, the burnout aspect of it, how much do you think that affects it, with the travel ball crazy people you see out there?
Yeah, for me growing up, I did play travel ball. I played it. We took it pretty seriously, my family. But I will say I enjoyed it. I think that it helped, but I don't think it's vital or like necessary at all, because there's plenty of guys on our team there's plenty of guys that are in the major leagues right now that got drafted out of high school that didn't play travel ball as a kid. So I don't think that parents are bad parents if they have their kids in travel ball. I think it's a great thing. I had a lot of fun, a lot of life lessons, but I don't think that parents are bad if they don't have their kids in travel ball. And I don't think that ultimately it's going to affect them, because the biggest thing for, eventually playing college baseball is once you hit puberty, once you hit your growth spurt, hitting the weight room, getting big, being skilled, and from there, that's who you are as a baseball player. So I think that it's good, but it's definitely not necessary, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you kind of talked about my dad coaching, playing, whatever. And so he would always say that if you're good enough, they will find you. And that was, that was his job. When he was at Auburn, he was recruiting coordinator, pitching coach, and he would go find kids. Obviously, it was a different time. He was in the early 2000s, but he found kids in the middle of nowhere and recruited them. And that's just kind of what he believed in, is like, if you're throwing 95 miles an hour, somebody's going to recruit you to play college baseball. It's pretty simple. So I was a big all-star guy, kind of like we talked about. I played, in the spring, played all-stars in summer, and then I played football, basketball in the fall and winter. And that was my conditioning, that kind of thing was and it kept it fun. I love playing basketball and football and that kind of thing. So the game has changed a lot from even when we were in high school to now. Like, you see so many kids playing travel ball year round, 70, 80 games. Like, we play 56 games, and it's super tough on us. And we have so many resources available to help us recover and all that kind of stuff, and it's still super tough. Like, it's just tough on your body when you're traveling and all that. So travel ball is great from the aspect, like, you get to play baseball, which is the greatest sport in the world. But at the same time, like, it can, kind of get old if you're doing the same thing. If you're 8 years old and you play all the way to 20 years old, it can kind of burn out. So I think there's, good things with travel ball and also some, side effects from it.
Brady, you mentioned that you played football in high school. What position did you play?
I played quarterback and linebacker.
Okay, so you know that we've been going through spring practice. We've only had 2 quarterbacks, and you hadn't shown up to Jared Parker's office to offer your services. I mean, come on, Trojan, let's get it together. Go out there, throw some passes out.
Well, I didn't play through high school. I played until 9th grade, and I got absolutely clobbered 3 times in one game by a kid that went to my rival high school when he was probably 300 pounds in 9th grade. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. I was like, that guy, because I wasn't, I'm 225 pounds now. I was probably about 180 pounds in, and that did not feel good. So,
well, I'm just going to turn you into Jared Parker's office just as an emergency backup. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
In case something happens to Tucker or Goose, we might need you to get in there and dump it off. All right. So, I mean, just be prepared for that.
I can hand it off pretty well. Maybe throw some screen passes and whatnot.
Little slants. you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna be just fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you still had Kamani Vidal, you just turn around and hand him the rock, and he does the rest, right?
Boy.
Absolutely.
Hey, 6'4", 225 is a good size for a college quarterback, man. I think you got this.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and then I look over on the other side of the defensive line, and the guy's 6'6", 300, and I become a very small man after that. So you never know.
Yeah. I thought I was decent sized for a little while. I'm only 6'2", and then you stand next to a college football player, and you're like, nope, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Those guys are massive. I'm like, how are you not 35 years old? You're huge. I don't understand. Well, Brady's probably like that. He's over there standing there at 6'4" and got all that height on him. But Yo Boy Cars, our resident Cajun fan, has a couple questions here. He wants to know if Troy is like a mini Oxford. I don't know if that's a slight or if that's a real honest question there. But
Troy is like a better Oxford. Next question.
Oh man, Captain America's saying he's loving the shirt, and he probably missed it when I shouted out him specifically about why I was wearing the shirt. But yeah, this is for you, man. Since I don't have any Troy stuff, I thought I'd wear this as you're our resident Troy fan who shows up on the podcast all the time. But Yo Boy Cars' question: which opposing team's fan base in the Sun Belt has the best trash talk? I think he knows what answer he wants here, but we'll see what you guys say.
I'll say for him, I think that the Cajuns are good fans. I do think that they have a good crowd, but the best hecklers definitely are from Southern Miss. And the reason is because the bullpen is right beside all of their fans. And so when you're in the bullpen, when you're warming up, you can literally touch their fans. So I was down there like 2 straight games with them, and I just talked to them. I wanted to, because the more you talk to them, the better they are on you. And so they were pretty friendly towards the end, but they were not very friendly to some of our players.
Yeah. Lafayette, they have great fans. Me and Grayson threw super well when we played at Lafayette. So you didn't really hear much, I guess. But Southern Miss, like he said, they're right on top of you. And that's always super fun too. I love getting chirped before the games and whatnot, because it just I know I love having a lot of fans in the crowd. So I think when they're right there on top of you, you kind of notice them a little bit more. They didn't really chirp me too much. I can't give you a great answer on that. I see, Southern Miss and Lafayette fans in the chat, so I can't give them too much props. So I guess those are 2 that kind of stand out to me, but that's all I really got.
Well, I got another question from a different – it's a good question too. It's a different type of question. But before we move on, what about your own fans? You guys hear them giving the opposing players a hard time? Are they pretty good? I mean, because obviously you don't hear that, towards yourselves. So do you hear some good stuff going on in the crowd from your own fans, though?
Yeah, so we've got I don't know if y'all have heard of them, but we've got Devil's Alley at our place. They sit out in left field. They grill every game. They've got loud horns and flags and all that. They're awesome. We've got a great relationship with them, but we've never really had vocal chirpers or fans in our stands until this year. This year, though, we have gotten some students and we've gotten some older people that have really been letting it eat at the other team, and we love it. We love it personally. We've got this one guy that he does roll call every time that we play, and that's awesome. We love that. And then we've got these students, they're called the Fortress, that chirp the other team pretty hard, and we love it. So that's kind of a new thing in Riddle Pace.
Nice. I like that. I like the nicknames too. They
student section right behind the opposing team's dugout.
Yeah, so they sit as close as they can to their dugout. We don't have seats behind the dugout, but right beside it.
Gotcha. So they can let them have it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Nice. All right. So this is, like I said, different type of question. This one comes from our resident app fan, Neil Higgins. Off topic, but bat flip or no bat flip on a homer when you are getting beat pretty badly?
No, you can't bat if your team's getting beat badly. I guess that's what we're talking about. Yeah, you can't bat flip there. I mean, that's just a bad look. Obviously, I feel because if you're getting blown out of the water. You're supposed to just take your run and keep going back to the dugout and not really do anything with it. So, yeah, that's probably not a good look for the team.
Yeah. So
I think
wait.
if you bat flip when you're losing,
Yeah.
if you bat flip when you're losing, you're kind of telling everyone that you weren't expecting to win anyway, and you're not a winner. So that's the way I see it.
Okay. So let's change it a little bit. Maybe you're let's just say you take a 1 or 2 run lead, close game. You flipping a little bit there? Now you're
absolutely.
up.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a follow-up question. That as a pitcher, what pisses you off more, bat flip or slow trot?
Slow trot, no doubt. Like any kind of slow trot, like if it's a foul ball and the guy kind of runs down the first and he walks all the way back, that probably gets me the most. Like if I get up a home run, I get up a home run. Like, obviously I don't want to see you do anything, but like if we're slow trotting it, I'm like, bro, like I don't like you because you already hit a home run off of me, and now you're gonna like kind of rub it in my face. So I really don't like you now. The slow trot gets me every time. Like I've had it happen a few times. I just want to run out there and punch the kid, which isn't the best look for me.
So they're getting hit next time they come to bat.
Probably not, because if I do that, our coach is going to know why, and then he's gonna be like, all right, you need to handle your emotions a little bit better. Now, obviously, there's certain situations where maybe something has to happen, but no, we don't really. I would much rather strike the kid out than hit the kid. I'll take my out any day of the week. So, yeah, I'm kind of on a different side of that.
Yeah. Grayson, you feel the same way on that one? It's the slow trot for you?
Yeah, I agree. I think you can bat flip like an emotional burst that's like you earned that. But a slow trot, it's a meditated look at me, So yeah, I don't like that. I don't see a bat flip anyway when I'm pitching because I'm just mad at myself and I'm just looking at the ground or whatever.
Yeah, you're
but
yelling
slow
into the
trot. Yeah, I
glove
don't want
at
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a guy mentioning Luke Lyons' homecoming. He's from down there in Hattiesburg then?
Yeah, he's our best. He's probably honestly the best pitcher in the Sun Belt, and he's been unbelievable for us. And going into the Southern Miss game, he's from Hattiesburg, and he had a .9 ERA through like 27 innings, something like that. And he gave like 2 runs maybe, and he gave up, I want to say like 9 or something like that. And it was just one of those like they made good swings, they had his number, welcome to baseball kind of thing. And so the Southern Miss fans, like they were all over him, they were dogging him, and he hated it too because he was looking forward to it. And it's one of those days in the baseball field you want to forget as quickly as you can.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Your boy Carr saying he agrees. Louisiana fans are hardcore. Not sure about Lafayette College in Pennsylvania, though.
No. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Never apologize. Never apologize.
Sorry. I know that.
Interesting. So Artie's saying they played Japanese soldiers in Okinawa. By the way, Artie, I was born in Okinawa, Japan. Military brat here. My dad was a Marine. Bat flip city. It's considered rude not to. As an outside observer, I like the bat flips because it makes it a little more exciting, right? That's the entertainment aspect of the game that you're probably looking for as an outsider there. We got a question from Dominic Ambrose. Which batters make you work the most to get out, to get the out? Excuse me. Is it solely kind of like lefty righty for you guys, or is there a lot of other aspects to make that type of thing difficult for you?
I'll give a specific one. I have one that just popped right in my head, and that's Jesse Sherrill from Georgia Southern. I know y'all probably know that name because y'all hate him, but he was always like, that's just one that kind of popped in my head. I know it might not be that's more of a specific thing, but he was a lefty, and when he would always get super on top of the plate, and he was not there trying to hit home runs. He was there to make you throw a lot of pitches, and he's going to hit a single off you if you miss a pitch. Now I remember my freshman year, he's a leadoff batter, and I threw like 12 pitches to him. And like I'm throwing great pitches, and I throw a fastball in, he hits it over our third baseman's head and gets a double. And ever since that moment, I was like, I can't get this kid out. I was like, he's so good. Thankfully, he's not there anymore. But he was one. He just got super on top of the plate, and he was going to make you throw a lot of pitches, and he never chased anything. Like, if it was in the strike zone, he hit it. If it wasn't, he took it. And that was, like, just one that kind of stood out to me the most.
Nice. I like that example. Grayson, what about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Jesse Sherrill's a great example of the hitters that you don't want to face, the guys that don't chase. You have to come into the zone to get them, and when you come into the zone, they're not going to swing and miss. They're going to find a barrel, and you just kind of hope it's out someone. Like for us, the guy that all the pitchers agree on our team that we don't like facing in inter squads is Ethan Cavanaugh, and he's only got 2 home runs this year. He had 1 last year, but he is an impossible out, and he's just so good. He doesn't swing and miss. He's not chasing. You're just hoping that he hits it at someone, honestly.
Yeah. He's hitting like 390 this year right now, and in the Sun Belt, which is really good. Yeah, he doesn't swing and miss. He walks like every other bat. It's kind of crazy.
Dang. Man. Yeah, that sounds like I don't have experience. I've never pitched in a game situation. I guess I've gotten on the mound. Man, it's been forever since I've even done that. It'd be interesting to just see if I could even make it to home plate. You guys are like, come on, dude. I think I could make it. I don't know if it'd be pretty, but we actually have a question for Trojan Joe here. Do Brady and Grayson look like double branch or front porch boys?
Oh, I think this is a divided answer, and I don't want to defend you. I don't want to offend you guys, but I feel like Grayson is giving real front porch vibes, and Brady is real double branch vibes.
Okay.
Am I? So those are the two like entertainment centers in Troy, is what I'll call them on this podcast. And I mean, that's just, you're a one type or another type. I was a double branch guy in my time there. But how did I do, fellas? Like anywhere close? Or you're both at church too much to go to either of those institutions?
Yeah, you said it. You were right there.
I think most of the baseball
perfect.
team, most of the baseball team is typically front porch is typically where you'll find a Troy baseball player.
TTP. I love it. TTP.
I was going to say there needed to be some explanation, so I'm glad you did enlighten us. And I think, Joe, you may know that guy that commented that question.
That is the Birdman. That's another of the Troy boys who I thought he had taken the night off, but apparently not. He is working enough to send us a question. So, get back into your cage, Bird. We don't need to hear this.
See, Joe, I took you as a front porch kind of guy. I'll be honest, Joe.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
I figured you'd be out there in the whatever they call it, the booty dome, right? In there dancing and whatnot.
Exactly. So. No, I preferred a bar that allowed beer pong in the front room. So I was more of a double branch guy, but I was in a fraternity, so I didn't have to do a lot of off-campus drinking. I was able to go to the house.
There you go.
But no, I'm glad you guys are focusing on the right things.
You did the on
just right at the front porch with your cowboy hat.
Yeah. I will anytime you invite me, and I will be there. We will make it a night to remember.
Are you smoking some beer right now? Is that what I'm seeing?
I mean, it's a cut. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I think you guys can all agree on this, Yo Boy Cars, Troy and Louisiana disliking Mobile, Alabama.
Absolutely.
That's the worst city ever.
The original home of Mardi Gras or no?
That's what they say. They're super happy about it. I wish they'd be the original home of not talking about it so much.
Oh, man. Marv, you got any more questions? I got like one or two more here, and then we can let these guys go so they can get back to their studies at the front porch.
Oh, yeah.
No more questions, man. Really appreciate you guys being on, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
I got one more thing for you. Either of you have any NIL deals or something that you guys have a teammate that's got something really cool that you're jealous of, like a burger named after him or something crazy?
Yeah, so I have one
I think
with
the best NIL deal.
Oh,
You got.
you're killing me over here. I think we're like behind each other. That's why we've been doing that the whole night.
Yeah, I'm lagging pretty bad with this moral.
I have one just kind of like with a Christian like apparel company. It's called Versus, and I know the guy. So that just kind of happened. But our best one is our first baseman. His name's Will Butcher, and his nickname is the Meat Man. And we have a place called Trojan Threads, and the word is that he continually went back in there and was like, "Hey, like I'm your guy. I want to do this with y'all." And like the first couple of times they were like, "Oh, we don't know you," that kind of thing. And eventually they were like, "Okay, this kid's pretty good, so we're gonna do it." And he's been like the face of Trojan Threads for the past 3 months. Like he posts something all the time about, "Hey, come get a shirt, come get a cup." He has something called a loud cup. It's like it makes noise or something like that. You blow into it, makes noise. So he's been like the face of Trojan Threads for the past 3 months. So he's pretty good at what he does. He's a good personality to have too. I mean, his nickname's the Meat Man. So if that tells you anything, that's kind of a good personality to have. So he's great for it.
Very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say, was talk about our first baseman, Will Butcher, his Trojan Threads NIL. It's pretty funny watching him do his thing for them.
He's the class clown of the group, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice. Very nice. Well, yeah, guys, I really appreciate your time. We got Yo Boy Car saying it's awesome pod. Good luck to you guys the rest of the way. That's from our resident Coastal Carolina fan there. Yo Boy Car saying Mobile invented in New Orleans made it relevant. That's very true. Artie Cat saying good luck the rest of the season, guys. Thanks for coming on and answering questions. And apparently he will see you guys down there in San Marcos here soon. We'll jump back into the scores and stuff. But, yeah, Brady, Grayson, absolutely pleasure. Thank you for coming on and spending your evening with us. And sorry if we kept you longer than you expected.
No, it was awesome. Had a great time. Artie Cat needs to come say something to us when we were over there in San Marcos.
That's right. Bring it, Cat.
Yeah, absolutely. He can come talk to us. So thanks for having us. It was awesome. Sorry I showed up a little late. I missed up the time there, so that's on me.
Oh, you're all good. All good. We just appreciate you guys' time and enjoy watching you guys play the game, and we'll obviously continue watching you and probably closer now that we know you guys a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate y'all having us. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Trojan Joe, you're the man.
You guys are the men. Love it.
We'll see y'all later.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Thank y'all. Bye.
Hey, I'm gonna y'all continue. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick.
All right. Joe,
Yeah,
what's
what are we
up,
doing?
man? Do you want to run through some of these? You want to talk some trash on some more teams as we go through it? We'll go through this.
Of course, let's do it. I mean, here's an unexpected piece of knowledge that a team in Mobile could actually beat another team. So, I mean, this is really fascinating.
Yeah. I did call. We do a little predictions every once in a while. I think you've probably seen those around. I did take South Alabama to win this one, but they've had some good wins, right? I mean, they beat the Tide, right?
They did
a couple of teams. So, yeah, 10-3. They lose that one 5-3 in the second one, and then they rounded out with the 3-1 victory to take home the series victory. And then they've got at Texas State here coming up this weekend. As we already mentioned, Arkansas State and App State will go head-to-head. That's an interesting one. You think those boys in Mobile get beat up a little bit there in San Marcos, or you think Texas State continues to slump a little bit here?
Well, boy, I sure hope so. But I don't know. I mean, they're right next to each other. I mean, in terms of the record, they're both coming off right now before these games. They're coming off winning streaks. So I'm not sure. I don't know that Mobile travels very well. They don't in other sports. So perhaps that plays into Texas State's favor. And Texas State's able to get a win, which they desperately need in order to become competitive. Texas State and Arkansas State really in the same position. Got to start making moves if they're going to do anything competitively this year. So the guys from Mobile coming into town, into San Marcos, this is a great time. If you're a Bobcat, this is when you need to make a move and maybe get a sweep if you can. Get 3 wins out of this, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Marv, what are your thoughts on that one? South Alabama going to Texas State there.
San Marcos is a hard place to win. They always have a great crowd because they're neck and neck. If I had to put money on it, I'd give a 2-1 edge to the home team. But, I mean, it's a toss-up with these two. But you're right. Somebody's got to make a move. There's 3 teams tied. It's 6 and 9. App's the other one. So somebody can make a move here and kind of get themselves in the top half of the pack again and try to close out strong.
Yeah, I think all 4 of these teams are thinking they could literally sweep a series. Not that it, like you said earlier, it's not easy, but I think all 4 of these teams think, they changed their entire outcome of the season at this point if they can sweep, any which way. It's just the whole thing's a total coin toss to me. I mean, I'm hoping that App at least takes 2 of 3 from Arkansas State. Texas State, I know, is probably hoping that they can right the ship being at home and take a 3-0 series, but that's not going to be easy. Artie Cat himself is saying that he's still ticking against his own team, saying South Alabama 2-1 in this one. So he's not back on the board, even as they host it this weekend. So we'll see what happens in that one. All right, here's the shocker from last week, at least for me. Right, Marv, if you want to start us off with this one, like what happened here?
So we've been asking this question every week. Who is Georgia State? They 10-run ruled Southern Miss twice. That's I did not see that coming. The bats were hot. I mean, even in the loss, they still scored 9. I'm perplexed by this one. Maybe Georgia State's better than what we think they are.
Yeah, one of those games happens. I don't know if I'm shocked. Those kind of things can happen and kind of have a weird occurrence. Pitcher has a really bad day. The bats are pretty good. But, yeah, that's what makes me pause here and think, we had Georgia State as a pretender. I think we all kind of did, thinking they were overperforming. They hadn't played a really tough schedule as of yet. You come into this Southern Miss thing and you're hoping that not hoping, I guess, but as an outsider, I'm thinking they're only going to win one of these. With how Southern Miss has been playing. Not that they've been the greatest, but they've been capable. And for them to get just demolished 2 straight games in a row, that was shocking to me. It just blew me away that was what was happening in this one. And like you said, that last game wasn't a total flip there. I mean, it's 14-9. So,
I mean, look, Southern Miss hit the ball well, 8-14. I mean, if you went into a series and said, hey, you're going to score 30 runs this weekend, you'd be like, okay, yeah, we're probably going to win that series. You just you didn't anticipate that you'd give up 40-something.
Right. Did not do that. Joe, what are your thoughts on that one? That surprised the hell out of you with Georgia State just doing that to an established baseball program such as Southern Miss?
Yeah, I think you just made the perfect point. I mean, when we started to expand the Sun Belt, when Southern Miss came in, the one thing that you started hearing Troy baseball people talk about was, oh my gosh, we're bringing this perennial power into the conference. This is going to be a problem. Southern Miss is going to come in here and, kick over our Capri Suns and eat our Dunkaroos. So for them to still be in the mix, I mean, obviously they have a great team, but to be able to be taken advantage of like this by the Georgia State Panthers, that's a sign that, when we expanded the conference, we did it a really good way. And we didn't bring anybody in who was just going to be uncontrollable, even although our friends from Harrisonburg would argue otherwise. This is an example of Southern Miss has a great history in baseball, but they're going to have to fight for everything that they're going to get in this conference. And I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, no, I do too. Our USN fan for life is saying crazy amount of home runs on that little field reminded me of last year against Coastal. Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a couple fields in the Sun Belt. If the wind's whipping around right, I know Louisiana talks about that down there at their field. You get a nice windy day in a certain aspect, and you're going to get some balls out of the yard there. So it just happened a lot in that series, which was surprising. So up next, obviously, as we just mentioned earlier with the guys we had on, Georgia State travels to Troy, which won't be easy for them too, but they're putting up a lot of run support. So we had two pitchers on, see if they can hold them at bay with that big offense. I don't know, Marv, you think they're going to travel well with that?
That's a big series. I mean,
It is.
like someone's going to separate themselves from the other team. That's a really big series. I'm still not 100% sold on Georgia State. I've said that, probably end up eating my words at some point, but I'm taking Troy. Don't think it's a sweep. Think it's 2-1. And Troy kind of, joins, ends up second place after this.
Yeah.
Alludes to the big series of, what in my opinion, the biggest series of the weekend, which is Coastal versus Lafayette.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Troy's got to score 9 runs a game here. That's where they've been the most successful. And we played 39 something games. You look at games where we scored 9 runs. It's been 20, 21, something like that. So Troy can certainly score. We're going to need to do that over Georgia State. And on the other side, Southern Miss not sweeping Louisiana Monroe this weekend would be a loss. Like they cannot walk away with a 2-1 and think that that's a win. I think they've got to sweep this with where they are now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. With where you think you need to be, where you want to be, and like you said, with where ULM is. Although Artie Cat's got a point, ULM not as bad as their record or better than their record reflects is how he phrased it. Just looking through, I mean, they string 3 losses together quite often though. So
who does Southern Miss have left? I mean, this is definitely a get right series for them. Who do they have left? Because Joe could be right. I mean, this could, depending on what their schedule looks like going forward, you might need 3 games here.
So obviously ULM here, they go on the road to Louisiana.
Whew.
They host Coastal Carolina.
Whew.
They go on the road to Arkansas State, which that one should be a win. And then they end the season hosting Texas State at home. So it actually gets easier on the very end of that, unless Texas State gets hot again.
Yeah, but their next 2 series after this with the Cajuns and the Beach Chickens are pretty tough. So, yeah, they need 3 here.
Yep. Oh, look, it's Joe's favorite podcast, Jag Nation Radio. USM is cooked, is what they say. So, already saying Texas State series is the last of the year. Yep, we just saw that one too. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's still enough baseball left for a lot of things to change very quickly, and this weekend is a big proponent of that. One thing that we saw last week was an absolute battle between a ranked team there in Louisiana going and not going. They hosted Marshall down there, but look at these scores. To me, this is pretty good baseball, right? I mean, 3-1, 1-0, 2-0, but they got the sweep. Very little runs in this one, just a bunch of pitching duels. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that it was 3-0, but I may be a little surprised that all 3 games were extremely close here in this one.
I mean, Marshall's got some arms. I can't remember the name of their Saturday starter, but that dude is an absolute stud. Surprised the Cajuns didn't put up more runs, but dude, a sweep is a sweep in conference. So we kind of talked about they had a couple soft series coming up, and they needed to take advantage of it or run away, and they've kind of done that at this point.
Yeah, Joe, I don't think anyone's catching the Cajuns. I mean, I guess it's possible. They do have a kind of a little bit a gauntlet here shortly, but they have got a big enough lead where they can afford to actually lose a little bit here.
Yeah, no, Lala is a boring team at this point. They're so good. They do have a couple series, with teams that are right behind them. So, I mean, I would be shocked if you woke me up in 3 weeks or whatever and told me that Lala was not the number one team coming into the conference tournament. I would, I'd ask you what in the world happened. But that's the only way Lala doesn't end up being the conference champion at this point is that they get into the tournament and somebody just has a couple of good games against them, because right now they're just that good. And that's because there is nothing else to do in Lafayette, Louisiana. So you might as well be good at baseball because it's the only thing to do.
Nice.
I mean,
Generation Radio is asking if we've gotten to South and Arkansas State yet. We have not. That one will be coming up shortly. And Artie Cat saying, hang in there, Marshall. A lot of talent on the pitching side. Absolutely. So let's look at what each team has got this weekend. Obviously, as Marv said, the biggest one of the weekend was without a doubt. I didn't put the rankings in these. I just didn't. There was so much stuff going on with the logos. I didn't put them in. But you've got a ranked matchup there with the Cajuns going against Coastal in Conway, South Carolina. You can't argue anything. That might be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, matchup across the country all weekend, to be honest with you.
That's an awesome marquee matchup for the Sun Belt. If you like college baseball, tune into that one. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be in Conway. I think the Cajuns take that series. They're not going to sweep them, but I think there's going to be some really competitive baseball games.
Yeah, Joe, you got a thought on your favorite COVID Carolina team there?
No, I think the same way. I mean, I think this is Rocky versus Apollo. I mean, you get the two big ones going after each other. I wouldn't be shocked to see a big flop by Lala in this situation, just because it would keep things entertaining. To get up there and think that, oh, here's the name on our jersey, and that's going to get us a win. And then all of a sudden CCU gets a 3-0 sweep. But I don't know. These are very, very good teams. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I will tell you this. So, we've all watched some baseball of most of these teams, certainly our own favorite teams. Getting to take in games in person is obviously a little different feel. You get to see more of what's going on and understand why things are happening a little bit better. I was really impressed with Coastal when I saw them play UNC. Obviously, you're not seeing the weekend starters in that. But what did happen is Coastal jumped out to a 4-0 lead early. UNC did all their damage in solo home runs, but there was many times the bases got loaded up or two men on, and there was just no panic from the Coastal dugout, from the players on the field. They just took care of business. So I came away more impressed with Coastal than I thought I would after seeing them in person, and just how they conducted themselves on the field. It was a business trip for them, right? They weren't going up there to maybe hang with a bigger school or a higher ranked school. They went in there and ended a team that had 27 straight wins at home. And they did it, a little close in the end, but most of that game, they looked like the better team. So I don't know what to make of that one. Like you said, Joe, I think Marv, you even kind of alluded to it. You've won a lot of games as the Cajuns right now. At some point, you've got to falter somewhere. So it wouldn't shock me to see Coastal take this series at home there in Conway. As far as ODU and Marshall, what did we say? Artie took Marshall to sweep ODU.
I can tell you one thing, for a lot of teams that are kind of in the middle, Marshall winning that series would help a lot of teams out.
That's a good point. I don't know. ODU just beat James Madison 2-1 in a series. We saw James Madison just sweep App State the week before that. I don't think this one's easy. I don't think anybody sweeps this one. I don't know. After what I saw last week, I'd probably lean towards ODU. But again, like you guys have alluded to, like the pitching in Marshall is still
good.
pretty dang good.
Is that one in Norfolk or is that in Huntington?
That one's in Huntington.
In Huntington, somebody posted earlier said that Coastal needs to sweep. If Coastal wants to get back in this race, they're down 5 games, winning 3 in a row against a team that's ahead of you would definitely help.
Yeah, that was Rivertown Sports Media mentioning that. So definitely have to see how that goes. Your boy Carr saying, I wonder how Coastal's bats will collide with Louisiana's pitching. Yeah. They didn't have the bats going majorly against UNC. I will say that, like I said, they kind of jumped out early on a couple good runs, and then they didn't. Bats went mostly quiet till late in the game again. So that will be an interesting aspect for sure, especially after, again, the Cajuns getting all these wins, having good pitching performances. Does that kind of dwindle here at some point when they play some better teams? Because let's be honest, they haven't played the gauntlet yet. That now's when that thing starts up. So
and Coastal's battle tested. They played a lot. They played State, they played Carolina, they played Campbell, they played Duke, they played Indiana. They played a lot of really good baseball teams. So I don't know. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah. And like you said, Marv, you've been a little bit impressed with Georgia Southern throughout most of the season. We know that they was Georgia State that swept them, though, right?
No, Georgia. I think Georgia Southern swept Georgia State.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was the other way around. Okay. So, but then they come in here and they get one against Coastal.
Competitive first game, get blown out in the second game, and a good win there. I don't know. I think I told you guys early in the season, I caught a couple of their games like the first 2 weeks, and I was like, man, they just got some dudes on that squad. Like if they can put it all together, they're going to be fine. Which obviously it pains me to say that, but no surprise here. I mean, Coastal is Coastal. I mean, they're a darn good baseball team, and I still think Georgia Southern's a really good baseball team.
Yep. Joe, what do you see on these two more East teams than where you're usually watching some of these games?
No, I absolutely agree. I think Coastal is the big bad wolf in this conference still, even with La doing so well. And so when they come into a series like this, Georgia Southern should be, they should take pride in the fact they took a game away. But you're going to have to be really, really good to take a series from these guys. And they're just not at that level yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, boy, thank you so much for that comment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we've already talked about that ranked matchup. I actually did put the rankings on that one. I don't know what I was doing on the other one. But Georgia Southern travels to James Madison. That one's going to be a tough one, but I think that's actually kind of an interesting series. I'm not sure anybody sweeps that one either. I don't know, you guys, quick thoughts on that at all?
That's going to be a good one too. If we're picking, series right now, I think the Troy series, the Coastal series, and that series right there are the 3 biggest series of the weekend. That's going to create some separation.
Yeah.
Well, and I know JMU is actually ranked below Georgia Southern, but due to my feelings about JMU fans, I will be rooting for Georgia Southern in the same way that I root for my grandmother. I hope that they beat JMU so hard into the ground. I hope that they win. I hope they somehow win 33-0 in every single game because JMU just deserves to lose. And so, Spiegel, go Eagles, whatever it is, I don't care. Y'all Gata all over them, whatever that is, because I just hate those guys in Harrisonburg a whole lot.
I don't think JMU's fan base has made a lot of fans since they entered the Sun Belt. There's just something about them. I can remember App State back in the FCS days and showing up and throwing those. I was about to use a very insensitive word. Throwing those streamers all across our stadium, and I've disliked them ever since then. My feelings have not changed. Unfortunately, they're playing the team that I hate more than anyone. So if both teams could lose the series, I think everybody wins.
Look, brother, I feel you. And I mean, Jag Nation Radio is commenting all over this right now. I thought forever there will never be any most hated team in the Sun Belt other than that team in Mobile. And then JMU showed up and said, "Hold my beer." And so all of a sudden, I mean, they have taken a title that those boys in Mobile earned quite honestly through hard work of being annoying. But these guys come in and just take. I mean, basically, those boys in Mobile can't have anything. It always gets stolen away from somebody else. So I agree with you. That's Georgia Southern. Let's go get them. Let's sweep them. That'd be nice.
Yep. Artie says it pretty well here. JMU said, "Hold my overpriced scotch."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know what's funny? In fact, I'm going to take this off for just a second. So JMU likes to consider themselves an everything school. Well, to the contrary of that, go look at what Troy's accomplished this year. They won the conference in football. They were right up there for basketball. And now look where they're at in baseball. So you want to talk about an everything school. We can talk about the big three sports. Troy and JMU, you're both there. You can't just say that one is and one isn't. So you got to be fair, right, Joe? Is that what we're saying?
Oh yeah, no, but I think JMU fans are just saying that in terms of students, they'll accept everything. I think that's what they mean by everyone's school. They'll just anybody who applies, they're good. They're good.
So they can student fee them to death and pay for their athletic department.
Oh, of course, yeah. So they can give Lee Corso a white wig and everything will be fine.
You know what the greatest thing about that is I believe James Madison lost that game to App State. That's right.
That's right. They did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I mean, almost the same thing happened when we came to Boone, but y'all were smart enough to pay the refs beforehand. So I mean, I applaud y'all for that. I mean,
we're undefeated on game day. Undefeated on game day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and the refs are paid on game day for sure.
Y'all got us back this year.
Oh, did we? Let me go back. I'll YouTube it. I'm sure it came out.
Yeah, it's on there. That was a good game until the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was tough to watch.
It was.
For me, it was. I mean, it was like my wedding video. I loved it. I would watch it every day.
That's
Joe was throwing streamers up at the top of the.
I did
throwing this.
Yeah, I think I hit Yosef actually with a streamer.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get back to this. Rivertown Sports said, didn't think this was a football show, but CCU beat UL 30-27 in regular season that year. So relax and let it go. We like to cover everything here. But all right. Let's see
if Grayson air goes for you guys.
Yeah. Texas State has to be the most of. I've not heard that before. I'm from Texas State, though, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe, Joe, you got any more experience with some Texas State fans down your way or something?
I mean, I went out to San Marcos for the football game last year, and Yobi cars or whatever. It's very bold of you to assume that Texas State has a fan base. There weren't a ton of people out there to greet me. So yeah, I mean, maybe they're obnoxious, but as soon as we got ahead of them, 14 points, boy, were they headed to downtown to jump in the river or whatever it is they do.
I think it's right on.
I don't have any experience with any Texas State fans out there.
Connection bad here.
No, you're all good.
You got to take over if you can hear me, because
no, we can hear you. So yeah, I'll go with this. This
all
was
right. Maybe we're back on here. So yeah.
Now you're freezing again. I'll run with it for a second. Surprised me, ULM took 2 from Texas State. Looks like they were close games, but once again, Artie's down on his Bobcats. I just didn't see that happening. I mean, ULM towards the bottom. It's baseball, though. I think Dom's gone. He's frozen.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You and I cannot be trusted to land this ship.
We're gonna break everything.
We are. This is going to be the end of the syndicate.
Remember when Dom had that podcast?
I jumped internet.
Oh, good.
What'd you say?
Oh, we're just talking about how we were gonna break the whole show while you were gone.
Yeah, we were about to ruin it.
Oh. Oh man, no, I think I almost did that myself. I'm trying to catch up on these comments, so we'll see if they make sense to us. They came out of football gravy the first time for Texas State, yes. Yeah, but now it looks like they could be one of the favorites going into next season, so we'll have to see. Ain't no way Joe from Troy is talking about paying refs now.
Yeah, hey, Jag Nation Radio Show, don't y'all need to get back to your Fusakli shift? Or, I mean, no one's going to make the freaking buttered toast without y'all, okay? So log off and get back to it.
Oh, man. Already said.
Hey, kids these days, am I right? I mean, they don't have the work ethic that we did.
True. I'll agree with that part. That's for sure. Artie's just not impressed with his team. Pitching is awful, hitting horrendous. What else can you say? We're not getting swept, but don't see us winning any series forward. Wow. Lowered expectations. The 6 notches on the ULM L is for the 6 names of the school.
Wow. That's rude, and I love it.
Nice. Yeah, he's going back on the Texas State comments there, so it's Lafayette. They don't deserve a response. Oh, man. Yeah, that got heated quickly there. All right. Back to the baseball. So ULM took it over 2-1. You guys already covered all this one, right?
We're good. Yep, we're good.
Good. Perfect. All right. So we talked about the Texas State South Alabama series. We have yet to talk about, I don't think anyway, ULM versus Southern Miss.
Yeah,
no, we talked about that one too, right?
Yeah, we're talking about how they probably need to do big here.
That's
gotta
right.
sweep.
And it's at
all right.
Pete. So
yeah. All right. The Royal Rivalry, as it's known, apparently. ODU versus JMU. JMU been getting the better of ODU in football and basketball, but ODU takes this one in baseball 7-1. They lost the second game 7-5, but then they win on Sunday 6-3. The bats were working, really, I guess is the best way to say this. ODU hit over 100 home runs last year, and not as hot on the bat overall, but they took this one to their rivals. So big win for the Monarchs in this one.
yeah,
Marv, you got anything on? Yeah.
I mean, just 2 even teams. I mean, they're tied in conference, same record. They're 2 losses away from each other overall. Coin flip going in. I thought maybe coming off the sweep at App, the JMU would have won the series, but the boys from Norfolk had a little bit too much.
Yup. Joe, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I just expect to see ODU take a little confidence out of this as they move through the rest of the season. I mean, obviously a huge win means a lot to them. So be on the lookout. Let's see what ODU does the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like it's Artie's birthday this weekend, so happy early birthday to you there, Artie. It looks like we got a comment from Ed Harold. That series with Georgia State was devastatingly awful, but USM will come back. I think, they have the history and tradition to do so, so we'll have to see about that. We talked about the ODU Marshall series. I guess we've actually talked about both of these at this point now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, rounding out the show. Joe, I don't know if you've seen our picks, but man, I've been hot these last 2 weeks.
Dom, you have not been doing well, brother.
No.
He got all 3 last week and 2 the week before and 2 this week. So he was like 1-11 at one point. So he's making progress. It's getting better.
Yeah. I'm warming up.
I wish Seth was here so I could talk crap to him about me retaking the lead from him and how he constantly on every show talks crap about Coastal and then picks them to win every single series.
But Marv, how are you 12-12 and you lost the JMU ODU series?
8 weeks of picks, 3 picks a week, so 24 games. Dom doesn't have 24 because he let someone guest pick for him 1 week.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
Because
You
he
know,
was doing so bad, he let Chad from Southern Miss pick for him.
I love it.
yeah, I have 3 less picks. I was told by both Seth and Marv and Chad actually that I could add those into mine because I think he went 2-1 that week, right, Marv? Is that?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, add him in there, you'll be 8-16.
Yeah, I'm still way behind.
Wow. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
But we do this dangerous. Like you don't just get to pick who wins. You got to pick the games. So you can't just say ODU wins the series. You got to pick what it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Artie's asking if I can catch up. I mean, I think mathematically, but
you got to be. You're going to have to live on the bold side of the life, and you start picking some sweeps.
Yeah, that's true. Part of the Georgia Southern pick was to make up a little ground. I knew you guys wouldn't be picking them, so I kind of went that way. But I probably heart of heart, I probably should have taken Coastal 2-1 because it was the smarter pick. But that's all right.
You got the ODU series.
What are you guys' thoughts on the conference tournament being in Montgomery, Alabama this year?
Montgomery, Alabama is a beautiful city. It needs to be utilized more as a conference destination. And you're all welcome for us bringing you there. No need to thank us. And I think you'll enjoy it. Riverfront Park is beautiful. There are several bars and restaurants around, and Troy will be just right down the road. So, come to Montgomery. No one wants to go to Biloxi. Pensacola we do for basketball. And that just come to Montgomery and don't complain about it. Complaining about it is weird. So those are my thoughts.
Montgomery's where the Camellia Bowl is, correct?
Yes, sir. It is.
I've been to Montgomery twice for App State bowl games and can say I had a blast both times I was there. I was also well sauced the entire time. So, yeah.
It's a shame you didn't come since you know how to get to Montgomery. Last year, if you'd come to Montgomery and then just gone 30 minutes south, you could have watched your team play for a title. And then, it didn't go well, but we're playing the result at this point.
So App's 2-0 when I've been live at a game they played in Alabama. So, that could have been, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Sir, I will buy your ticket because I promise it would not have made a difference.
No, the way you buy football that night, no, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah.
We needed
Ted is saying he spent 2 years in Montgomery with the Air Force, but Biloxi would be a better choice. And Joe, you didn't seem to agree with that. You weren't as high on Biloxi, or?
No, I'm not a Biloxi guy. Montgomery's a nice town. It's a town that is it's for nice people. So I think that's where we should be. Biloxi is kind of gross. It's the kind of town where when you get the thing at the gas station, you pull the handle out to put in your car. There's something on your hands when you're done with it. You don't want that. Just come to Montgomery. We have an airport. Okay, it's not like a great airport, but it's an airport. Let's just do Montgomery. Let's just let Montgomery be a thing.
Yeah, there you go. Well, San Antonio or Austin would be great for Texas State, and maybe Louisiana schools and everybody else. That would be quite the travel. I would like to see if it would be somewhere more. I don't know. Montgomery probably is pretty central to the Sun Belt, though, I guess, Joe. I don't know if you've kind of looked at it, but kind of does make sense.
The most central would be like Huntsville to play like at Toyota Field, which is where the Trash Pandas play. But I think being near a Sun Belt school is probably important. I think going in the middle of like where we don't have anywhere that has a defined fan base is not a great idea. But people are always, the Sun Belt has a very close geographic footprint, but people have very different ideas about it. You have Marshall fans that are going, why isn't it within 100 miles of our campus kind of deal?
Right.
And then you have San Marcos people, Texas State, I think, is the obvious outlier in our conference. And so it's hard to make decisions with them in mind because they're so far out of the common footprint. But Montgomery has a beautiful baseball facility. If you wanted to go to Biloxi, that's great, but that makes it a worse location for App. You know what I mean? Or for James Madison, Montgomery is actually a better location for them. So, I question that.
I'm looking at the map. Atlanta would not be a terrible place to have it. Atlanta's kind of central, easy to travel to. You can fly there. Just don't know where you would play. I don't know if they have a minor league team there.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you could play in Georgia State's football stadium. They can just go back to baseball in that place and actually fill it up or something.
You can play in Gwinnett. The Gwinnett Braves.
Yeah, there you go.
Single A team. You could play. I mean, you could make that kind of thing happen. But I just think. I think you do have to start having these conversations because we've put this league together, and now you're kind of having the family is starting to have the kind of fights that you have as a family. So why do we go to Pensacola every year, Dad? And why do we go to Montgomery? And some of that is going to make people uncomfortable because some of that is because Troy University is the sponsor for those events. So if you want to host an event closer to your town, your school is going to need to pony up and start paying some of those fees. So that's, this is a great way to end this podcast. Go ahead and make all the fan bases mad all at once, except for the Troy fans. That's what we're going for, right? That's what we talked about before we started.
This was the Troy episode. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Just make sure Troy people are happy. And that's what I think we've done. So great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I was just looking at if Georgia State ever builds a baseball facility, that would be a great place to have the tournament.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I will say that's an interesting comment by Ed there. New Orleans wouldn't be bad either. I mean, yeah, the headquarters of the Sun Belt is in New Orleans, so that could also make sense. I kind of feel the way about New Orleans as you do about Biloxi, though, Joe. Is like it's kind of a dirty spot, Like, sure, Mardi Gras, this party atmosphere. It's not really. I wouldn't want to be there for like 5 days throughout a baseball tournament, kind of thing, though. I don't know. Hot,
like
sticky, dude.
Being in Vegas for 5 days, you need to get a rehab when you get back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I just don't know about the rotation of stuff on college campuses. I just think there's certain schools that don't care about baseball as much, like Georgia State being one of them. Like if you did host it there, like you said, it's a central location, Marv. I think you get enough of the other schools to maybe make it work, but I don't know if like a place like, I don't know, Marshall would do a great job hosting a Sun Belt baseball tournament. I mean, they do have that new facility, which would help. But I mean, like think about 5 to 7 years down the road. Does that still resonate?
Some people don't have the stadium to hold it. I mean, even like our stadium holds like 1,300 people. If you're having a conference tournament, you need a bigger venue than that. One thing we can agree on, though, Pensacola is the absolute worst spot for any sporting event, period. They should never hold a tournament there.
I've not been myself, but yeah, I've not heard one good thing about Pensacola other than you could be close to some beaches, and that's true of a number of locations. So I'm not sure Pensacola has to fit that bill there.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of moving it, but all right, boys, let's wrap this thing up. I'm getting tired here. Old man's got to go to sleep.
Yep. Nope. I'm with you guys. We had a great episode. It's obviously going to run a little long because of our guest spots, but I was more than happy to have those gentlemen on and Joe take Seth's place, maybe permanently. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man. But thank you all for tuning in. For those that stayed with us the entire time, all 2 of you. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.